Tristan, I have indeed found your favorite predator. Everyone, Tristan's favorite predator is a leopard, and this particular cat, Thandi, I think is one of his favorites. I don't know if it's the favorite, but definitely one of his favorites. So all leopards get names eventually, not because they're pets and not because we can touch them. They're not domesticated. They're just very special animals, and they have territories that are very particular, and they live in habitats that are sometimes very hard to find them. So you can see Thandi's underneath this dead tree, and we actually drove quite close to her before we could see her because of the angle that the tree was at and the way that the shadow was, and she was lying flat, flat, flat. Her cub is here as well, but her cub has just moved off a little ways. They're very full, and because they're very full, they're very hot. So you can see she's panting. If you have cats or dogs at home, your cats or dogs will do the same thing because they don't sweat like we do. So to be able to cool down, they have to go and pant all of it out. I know, Thandi, I'm sorry. And it's putting her in a bad mood as well. You saw that little curl of her lip there. If she was really upset with us, she would have told us to go away. Right now, she's just going, I'm hot, I'm tired. Noelle, you're talking. My cubs moved off. I can't eat anymore. I want it to cool down. Ugh. She's having a mom moment. So kiddos, don't forget, you can ask us questions, and we love, love, love questions, any kind of questions. It can be questions about this leopard. It can be questions about the habitats that leopards are in. It can be questions about how does the leopard catch its prey, or it could be questions about what myself and Tristan do. And everyone from the Mara, that's in Kenya, which is north and east from us, about 1,600 miles, they'll be joining us hopefully again soon once that big storm passes. Whenever there's a big lightning storm, we have to shut down all of our equipment so that we don't get struck by lightning. It's very different from a normal game drive vehicle. And what's interesting about this for us is that with our game drive vehicles, like what we're doing now, I don't have guests like you would see with other lodges. I have all of you. So I've got Seb with his camera, and then you're seeing everything that we're seeing because of the amazing technology that has developed over the years and using the internet, and it's pretty amazing. So now this leopardess, which is a female leopard, is a good-sized female leopard. Usually females are between sort of 45 and 55 kilograms, sometimes up to about 60 kilograms, which means that they top off at about 120, 130 pounds, and then can sometimes be a little bit less, about 115 pounds. Now, that's the size of a decent female human, even a smaller female human, so they weigh quite a bit, and they're really amazing. You can see how well she camouflages in there. So when there's something for her to stalk, and she likes prey like impala, which is a type of antelope that's similar to your white-tailed deer, she'll hide herself, and then she'll stalk forward slowly, 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 and moving around. Now, I can see the cub every now and then. From our 9 o'clock, Seb, there's a dead tree that's lying with lots of branches of Cumbritum, and the cub is jumping around amongst there. So we might be able to see it. I'll keep an eye out there. Now, another thing that Thandi does while she's busy stalking is if you look at her face, what you can see now, you see those really long, long whiskers. Those help her when she's stalking because her eyes are going to be right on the prey. And then as she's stalking, those whiskers will help feel everything around her so that she doesn't run into anything that will make noise. Alice, you're our first question of the day, and thank you so much. You've asked a really great question. Alice, you want to know why leopards have spots. So Alice, every single organism, whether it's a human or a leopard or a bee, they have to fit into their habitat, and they have to fit into the niche inside the habitat. And by doing that, they have to make sure that everything that they do makes it able for them to eat, to find a place to live, basically to survive. So a leopard they're not true spots, they're actually called rosettes. And she's got these rosettes to help camouflage herself so that she can hide amongst thick bushes or even in tall grass. And so that it's easier for her to catch her prey, and also so that she can camouflage herself against other predators. Lions and leopards don't like each other. Leopards and cheetah don't like each other. Leopard and hyena don't like each other. So she's got a very special coat to help her survive. Byron, very cool question. Byron, you want to know how long can a leopard run before their hearts explode? Now, Byron, I'm actually not worried about her heart exploding. I'm more worried about her brain overheating. So she can do 23 meters a second. So there are 3 foot in a meter. Byron, I'm sorry, I didn't do well with math at school. So you guys are gonna have to help me out with that math. So 23 times 3, and that's how many feet she can do in 1 second. And that's the amount that she can do at the top speed, which is about 90 kilometers an hour. So you're looking at about 65, 70 miles an hour, roughly. And she can't do more than that, or else her brain's gonna overheat. Now, a cheetah, who looks very similar to a leopard but has really long legs and a longer body and a longer tail and a smaller head, has a very special brain casing that allows it to do much faster. It can do about 90 miles per hour, sometimes a little bit more, a little bit less, depending. Actually, I think it's a little bit less, more like 80 miles per hour. Oh, she's coming out to the open, everyone. Look, you can see everything perfectly now. Her fat belly, she's walking right past us. She's growling. So sorry about those technical difficulties with Taylor. It does happen from time to time because we are live. So anything that happens to us, you all get to see. And every now and then, the technical difficulties, which we call gremlins, attack us. So if anyone doesn't know what a gremlin's a little creature that is nice and cuddly and cute until it gets wet, and then it turns into a crazy creature. So now Thandi, as we know, has moved. She's moved closer to the kill. The kill is just behind her in the tree to the left there. I think we might be able to see a little bit of the top. There we go. Just on the left-hand side of your screen, you can just see the back end. That little fur through the branches there, that is what's left of what I believe is the water buck kill. So you saw some antelope up there with Jamie and Taylor. Another type of antelope is a water buck, and they're very, very furry, kind of like a donkey. Dylan, good question. Dylan, I believe Thandi is about 6. But actually, the best person to ask that is Tristan, because my brain has just frozen and gone, oh my goodness gracious. I think maybe she's more, Seb says, maybe closer to 8. But I think we'll have to ask Tristan to double confirm for us. But good question, Dylan. Keep them coming, everybody. We love them. Leopards can live to be about 18 years old in the wild. That's really pushing it. But I do know some female leopards that have lived that long. Males tend to live a little bit less. But I have also run into male leopards that have lived as long as sort of 16, 17, 18 years. Most of the time when you get around the age of sort of 15, you're pretty old as a leopard. And even a little bit younger, sometimes it's 12 if you're a male. The males, it's harder for them because their territories, there's always young males coming in trying to push them out. Tristan's telling me through our directors into my ear that Thandi is actually much, much older than I thought she was. She's 11 going on 12. Thank you very much, Tristan. So everybody, she's actually quite an old leopard. She still has a lot of years left in her. I wouldn't be surprised. She's quite good at what she does as a leopard. I wouldn't be surprised if she lives to be closer to 18, but I'm very surprised that she's 11 or 12. So everybody, Tristan's worked in this area on and off for many, many, many years. I've only come in and out sort of infrequently until I started working with Safari Live more permanently into this particular piece of property. There's lots of other reserves around us as well. And so Tristan used to work a lot with Thandi's mum, whose name was Karula. And when Tristan and I first met about 7 years ago, when I did some work for him at his other lodge that he was working at, we used to run into Karula quite a bit. And she unfortunately has passed away, and so now part of her area is Thandi's area. Angela, good question, sweetie. You want to know why do leopards hide under a tree in the summer? Well, Angela, they'll also do it in the winter. Sometimes they're in a tree and sometimes they put their kill underneath a tree. It's a type of caching. Either way is fine. But in our summertime, Angela, it is very, very, very hot. And because leopards are covered in fur, and again, they don't sweat, they have to pant to alleviate, and also she's eaten all that meat. She's just trying to find the best shady spot possible, and under trees is a good shady spot. So she did have her kills up inside a tree yesterday, and then today, I think it's easier for her little cub, to access it when it's underneath the bush like this, so she's brought it back down. And she's trying to have a nap, but I don't think it's going very well. She's too hot and uncomfortable. Julia, good question. Thandi's cub is about 3 months old. It's a little cub. So I believe Tristan and James first spotted Thandi going into her first den. We are still here with Thandi, of course, and she's still hot. She's still lying near her kill. We've just repositioned ourselves a little bit, and we're just waiting to get another glimpse of this little cub, who I have a feeling is hiding in the undergrowth, not too far from us, but it is teeny tiny. It's about the size of a mini football, a mini soccer ball. And so we're just, again, keeping our eyes out. But you can see her coat pattern really nicely from here. You can see those whiskers we talked about. You can see there's the rosettes. There's a really great poem or a short story by Rudyard Kipling called Why a Leopard Doesn't Change Its Spots, that you guys might like to look at it sometimes. Brian, I believe you're asking me, are leopards lazy all day long? So, oh, Bryson, excuse me, sweetie, Bryson. Bryson, you're asking, are leopards lazy all day long? Most cat species are lazy all day long because it's hot during the day. As it cools down, they start moving around. But that's not to say that they don't move sometimes in the heat of the day. I've also seen them hunt in the heat of the day. But yeah, they in general move when it's cooler. So at night or in the early mornings and a late afternoon. So mostly lazy all day long indeed. A lion, for instance, will sleep for about 16 to 20 hours a day. Leopards sleep less than that, but not by much. And then also she's very full. So if you all think about a big holiday dinner or a big family dinner you might have where you stuff yourself so full you can't fit into your fat pants, that's what she's like right now. Her fat pants don't fit. Sophia, you're asking if Thandi is okay because she's breathing so hard. Sophia, she is fine. She's just very hot. So she's breathing hard to help digest all of that meat that's in her fat little belly right now, and also to try and cool herself off. Now, it hasn't cooled down like it should have as of yet because we have a storm a-brewing, and so it's humid. We don't get humid as you would get in Virginia, but it does get humid here, and you can see that storm just in the background here forming with lots and lots of clouds, and that makes the heat and the humidity, it holds the heat in and makes the humidity rise up. So for her being covered in fur, it is rather uncomfortable, unfortunately. Great questions, everybody. I like them. Keep them coming. It's great. Now, where I'm looking for the cub is just here to the side. Can you see all these branches? It's a dead branch that's fallen off, and it's very thick in there. And I have a feeling that the little cubbo is now under this part, probably resting, because Mom keeps looking over in this direction. She also hasn't called the cub yet. And they call the cub, a lion calls a cub like this. A leopard's more of a, I'm so bad at it, but I'm going to try. A leopard's more of a, like a deeper, sort of rustier sound. She's looking at me while I do that. Did you see that, Sam? I did. Vivian, good question. You're asking what the cub's name is. That's what Thandi thinks of my leopard call. She is looking at me with disdain, as leopards do. The cub, Vivian, doesn't have a name yet. It's still too young. Usually, leopards only start getting names when they're a female at about 2 years old, and then the male's a little bit older. Here on Djuma, we tend to give leopards names around a year old, both male and female, and that has a lot to do with us because we see them often, especially the females who take over part of their mom's territories and then tend to stick around in general. But so this little cub doesn't have a name yet. And one of the reasons why we wait to name them, for them to be older, is that the mortality rate, the death rate of little cubs, it can be quite high. So there are other leopards that might try and kill the cub, or lion, or cheetah, or hyena, or mongoose. It's a very difficult life for a small either leopard or lion cub, or even cheetah cub. And Mom really has to do a very good job of being a mom. And it's hard for her because she has to go far away to hunt sometimes for a few days at a time. Thandi's done really well at keeping this cub alive, and we hope that she's going to keep doing very well and that circumstances allow this cub to grow up into an adult so that we can keep watching her for many generations. Good questions, everyone. Madeline, you want to know, do leopards have the same spots or rosettes? They don't. Every leopard's coat pattern is unique to the individual, just like Jamie would have said about the zebra. And then it's a little bit hard. She's got this tiny little branch in front of her face, but they have what's known as a spot pattern that's above their whisker line that's also unique. But even just the rosettes on her body are unique to her. Ooh, Abigail, you're now asking, how do you tell who's who? There we go. So do you see the top whisker line? And then she's got two little dots above there. Those are unique to Thandi. So that's the right-hand side of her face. So she's got two spots there. And then when she turns around, we'll see what's on, that's her right-hand side. And we'll see what's on her left-hand side. So those spots above there are unique to each individual. And that's how we tell who's who. Abigail, we also tell who's who by where they are. Now, female leopards, when they reach 2 and then a little bit older, they take over part of their mom's territory, and then sometimes a little bit of possibly another female that might not be around anymore. And then they hold those territories for most of their lives. And so that's another way we can tell who's who. That's not to say that no other leopards will come in. And remember, they're territorial not for other predators, just for other leopards. And so we know that this is Thandi's territory. It would be unusual to see another female in here. It can happen, but 90% of the time, the female that you find in this area is going to be Thandi. So that's another way that we tell. Drake, you're curious to know, why is Thandi closing her eyes? She's closing her eyes because she's tired. So Drake, if you think about stuffing your belly so full that you can't actually move anymore, and you're lying on the couch, but you're also so uncomfortable you can't really sleep, and you try and close your eyes and you lie there and you go, oh, I just want to sleep, and then you have to open them because you have to move because you're uncomfortable because you ate too much. It's like that. See, she's looking at us like, yeah, exactly. I'm very uncomfortable. Olivia, she killed 2 things yesterday. She killed a small water buck, and she also killed a steenbok. Now, I am going to get my mammal book out so that you can see what I am talking about. Let me just find it for you quickly. So, here we go. This is a water buck with the little circle on the bum. These are adult water bucks. The male has horns, the females don't. And this would not have been the size. It was a baby water buck that she killed. Ooh, she's moving. She's going to go possibly over to the kill, or she's just going to sit in a different position. But that's fine. That gives me a chance to find you also a steenbok. So steen means brick in Afrikaans, one of the 11 official languages in South Africa. So a brick-colored book or buck. Sorry, everybody. I will find it just now. So again, because she's uncomfortable, she's turning herself around, she's moving herself around a little bit. She's just trying really hard to manage to get into a spot that makes her happy. But she's also doing it because she's possibly going to go back to that kill, which will be fantastic if she does that while she's with us. And then, now that she's turned her back on us, here is the steenbok. Tiny little antelope. There's the male on top with tiny little horns. And then the female is down here. No horns. Now, here we go. And big ears. They eat grass. There we go. And there's the male. Now, the steenbok stands about this tall. It's like the size of a Jack Russell dog. If any of you know about that size, or 2 wiener dogs on top of each other. I can't think of the actual real name of a wiener dog right now. Maybe one of you can remember. A dachshund, is that correct? I think that's correct. Look, she's gone over to the kill. Absolutely fantastic. She's moving it. Look at that. She's pulling it out. Now I'm just going to wait to see how far she pulls it out, and then I'll move the car so that we can see a little bit better. Leopards are quite fastidious, meaning that they're very picky about their food and how they eat it, so they like to take the fur off, which is what she's doing right now. So I don't think she's going to move it too much. I just want to move the car so that you all can see what she's doing. There, she's going to move it a little bit more. There we go. Where are you going to go, Thandi? Are you going to stay there? All right, I'm going to move forward then so we can see a little bit better. And then I know that one of the things that you all are doing with your science course at school is talking about predators and prey. So watching her feed is going to be really, really great. Now, I don't want to go too much more forward because of where we think that the little cub is. So actually, I'm going to go quickly forward, and then we're not in between her and where we think the cub is. And I'm just going to turn the vehicle like this, and then we're going to be able to see, and then the cub can come around the back side of the car when it's ready. I'm sorry, Thandi. Okay, do you want me to move, my leaf? I will move. All right, I'm moving. So Thandi's saying to me, Noelle, I don't like the spot that you're in. And I'm saying, okay, madam. And so I'm going to move around just a little bit like this. And there we go. Hattie, good question. You're curious to know, how do I tell if this is a male or a female? Hattie, it has a lot to do with her size. Males are about twice the size that she is, a full-grown male. Also, around her neck, do you see how slender her neck is? A male has a really thick neck, and then they get a flap of skin called a dewlap, which hangs down. The females tend not to get that. And there she goes, picking all the fur out so that she can get into the meat. Oh, Oliver, you're wondering how sharp are her... That's a really good terminology for any sort of predator that you're going to see out here, carnassial shear. Also, I think wolves also have carnassial shears. And coyotes will have carnassial shears, as will lion and cheetah. And so she's going to pick all that fur out and then lick it off with her rough tongue. And then she's going to get into where the meat is. She's going to pull the skin with her teeth, and then she's going to put it in the side of her mouth and chew on it with her carnassial shear. And that's how she gets, there she goes. Hello, darling. And so, yes, but now if she were to try and bite us, she's not going to bite us. She did give us a little bit of a warning earlier. She just said, Noelle, I need a little bit more space. So we gave her a little bit more space. But those front teeth are going to be sharp as well. Now, Allenton Elementary School, thank you so much for joining us. You guys had the best questions. I really do hope that you fully enjoyed everything that we just saw, and I hope you join us again sometime. And we will see you all maybe next week, maybe tomorrow. You never know. Cheers. What is that? Thandi, I'm sorry. I've moved away. I'm very sorry, my girl. We're good. She just got a little bit upset with me there as I moved my leg, but she's better now. So welcome to all of our viewers who have been with us through the school drive. We hope you've been enjoying so far. It has been an excellent 45 minutes. And don't forget, we're live and interactive. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or on the YouTube chat. Send through those questions. We love them, or comments. We love them. And we know that you all love Thandi, and we're hoping that her cub pays us a little visit just now. Now, my buddy Tristan's on the other side of Djuma, or possibly on Chitwa. I actually don't know where he is right now, but he has a bird he'd like to show you, so let's head on over to him. She is feeding, another mother that's feeding. That Wahlberg's eagle kill sounds absolutely amazing. She's moved the kill a little bit farther back into the grass there, and we're just staying put and just keeping an eye out for this little cub. We think that it's just full and sleeping underneath some bushes, but we will have to wait and see. She hasn't tried to call it out yet, so I think she's enjoying a meal on her own for a little bit. And then when she walked past us earlier, she was looking very full, but she was also looking like she was lactating, of course, because she's still feeding the cub milk as well. And so hopefully she'll nurse eventually. And while we're waiting for the cub to pop its head out, let's head back up to the Masai Mara to Jamie, who's out and about and has another predator that's a little bit more active than ours. Thanks, Herbie. So Thandi got tired of eating her kill under a bush. So she is now back up in her marula tree with her water buck kill, licking all that fur off so she can get into what is left of that meat. Her tiny little baby water buck, still no sign of the cub. We still think it's taking a nap somewhere. Excuse me, everybody. I haven't seen a little cub like this up in a tree in a very long time, so I'm hoping at some point over the next sort of hour and a bit that it does pop out and it does get up into the tree. I will be over the moon, as I'm sure all of you will be as well. Now, her tongue is very rough like sandpaper. So we talked about it a little bit with the lions the other night. It's rough like sandpaper, but it's also soft and squishy at the same time, like a tongue. But it needs to be rough like that to help take all of that fur off so that she can get into the meaty bits. And then just like a house cat, she will get hairballs. And just like a house cat, she's very good at being on precarious branches. And it's a nice thick branch, but you can see that she's quite steady on her seat there. That's a beautiful shot. Thanks, Seb. Now I'm hoping she listen. She called the cub. Did you hear it? She might do it again. Now, I have a feeling that one of the reasons why she's doing this and pulling it up into the tree and then also calling the cub now is it's getting darker. And so it's a safer place for them to have the kill up in the tree when it's dark so that hyenas can't get to the kill and can't get to the cub. So it took her fur is a little out of place as she went up the tree, and then also in her paws there might be a little bit of bark and things. So she's just cleaning them off. Now, my friend Ralph's up in the Masai Mara, and he has some playful cubs of his own. And since we haven't seen ours yet, let's head on up to him, and then we'll keep an eye out for all of you, and hopefully soon our little cub will pop up. All right, so she's gotten a little bit tired of licking the fur off that water buck, and she stopped eating a bit. She's been calling the cub every now and then. The cub seems not to be listening, but to be fair, she's not calling very loud, and the wind is blowing in the wrong direction. So I'm sure that cub is still fast asleep, and she seems too tired to want to come down and go and fetch it. And she's napping. Shame. So we're still on the lookout for the emergence of the cuteness that is Thandi's cub. Now she's doing her typical leopard pose. I love that shot, Seb. With belly on the branch, feet hanging down, her head on one paw. Sorry, she's just put it behind that branch a little bit there. And up on a almost 90-degree angle branch in a marula tree. Very typical leopard of the Lowveld. When I worked up in Zambia, in South Luangwa National Park, the leopards there really love sausage trees, interestingly enough. Now, we don't have too many of them here. As we know, we just have that one that doesn't have any fruits. So while we're waiting for our cub to come out and for Thandi to be a little bit more active, let's head on over to Herbie, who I believe has an antelope species on foot. Tristan, I believe you. Oh, she's calling the cub. Listen. And of course, as I say that, she goes quiet. Hold on, she might do it again. Can we hear it? It's very faint. You hear that? The birds are being too loud in the background, I think. But she's looking intently. She can see the cub. I'm sorry, she's just doing it very quietly. So hopefully we'll see the cub soon. And yes, Tristan, as I was saying, I believe you, the lion's there. I believe it's going to come out. Now, everyone, we mustn't forget the exciting news that on the 4th of February at 10 o'clock Eastern in the United States, we will be live, 100% live on Nat Geo Wild for 5 nights. 5 nights in a row. So the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th at 10 p.m. Eastern on Nat Geo Wild. And during that time, we're going to be playing Safari Bingo. And Safari Bingo, you can look up all the rules at natgeo.com/Safari Live. And 2 people are going to be able to win a trip to see what we're seeing now in Africa from winning Safari Bingo. So head on over there to natgeo.com/Safari Live and find out how the rules are played. And then hopefully one of the amazing viewers that we have in the US will win that trip and be able to come for a once-in-a-lifetime experience to Africa to see possibly the Big Five. I'm super excited for whoever that might win. And don't forget about our live TV shows. It's really exciting. All right, now back to Thandi, who's much more interesting than my face. She's still calling. Now, any of you that were watching a couple weeks ago when we had Shadow calling for her youngster, Shadow was getting super annoyed because she couldn't hear or smell or see her youngster, so she was calling really loudly. Now, Thandi is looking in the same spot, so I think she can physically see her cub. We just have a bush that's at the back, so we can't see possibly where she's looking and the direction that she's going in. I'm trying to move my body a little bit to see if I can see anything. And so I think one of the reasons why she's calling quietly is because she can see, which means that she can see whatever the cub's doing. And she's obviously just way too full and tired to want to move. And she's possibly saying to that cub, like, hey, listen, I'm up here. Come here. All right, now while we're waiting for this cub to emerge and we still have some time to see it, let's head back on over to Herbie, who still has some Niala on foot. Thanks, Herbie. All right, so in the interim, we can now hear the cub. We can't see it yet, but we can hear it. It's calling back to Mum, and Mum's like, child, I have told you where I am. I've called you. I'm pretty sure you can see me. Just come. So we're still waiting with bated breath, but I can just hear it. Hold on one sec. It's behind this tree behind us. I'm going to see if we can hear it again. There. It's very faint. I think it's going to be too hard to hear, unfortunately. She's just a little bit too far away. And by the way, I've conceded to Tristan. It's a girl. Oh well, I didn't win that bet. I'll win other bets. Okay. I think it's going to take about 5 minutes for this little cuteness to come out. So we'll let you see Thandi in the meantime. And we're sitting as quietly as we can. She's happy, she's in her tree, she's taking a nap. And when she calls the cub and she looks up, she can see where the cub is. So, oh, I can see it. It's right behind us, Seb. It's right behind us. I've got it, guys. It's going to be an awkward angle, but she's directly behind us. We're going to try and get around to show you a little view. Oh, she's going to go away a little bit. I don't want to move the car just yet because I don't want to scare it off. She was directly behind where Seb's sitting, which is, it's hard to get all the way around. But that being said, we've seen her. There, we can hear her again. Where we saw Thandi in the very beginning lying under that dead tree, that's where that cub is now. And it's just a little bit more to our left. So she should be coming out soon. Oh, very exciting. Thandi's eyes have opened up a little bit. So one of the reasons why I'm whispering is, one, said if the cub comes closer, you might be able to hear. But then also because the cub knows that we're fine and that we're in a safe space, and that has a lot to do with Mum. But it's really important when this cub is this small that we try to mitigate any loud noises so as to not scare it off. Because what they do at this age is they don't necessarily run away, but they sort of duck down like this and then scamper off. So I'm whispering and I'm just looking every now and then behind. So yeah, I think next couple of minutes we'll definitely come a little bit closer and we'll be able to get it on screen for you. We're going to have to cross fingers and hold thumbs, but I think it's going to be pretty epic. And I do hope that it comes out just here and scampers up and goes up the tree. That's my wish for everybody. She's probably smelling around, trying to figure out exactly which way she wants to come. She knows we're here, as does Thandi. And again, if Thandi didn't want us here, she would let us know. Earlier, she was just really hot and bothered, so she curled her lip a little bit. But she's much cooler now, so she's happier. Andrea, good question. You're asking if a leopard can take down a male Noelle. Andrea, I've seen a big male leopard, probably about a 95 kilogram male leopard, take down a male Noelle. We've also had leopards, friends of mine have seen, and I believe Jamie up in the Mara got it on camera for you all, with that male hoisting that small giraffe. So yeah, a male Noelle would definitely be in the cards. No doubt about that. But again, it depends on what their specialty is. So the most things that I've seen Thandi with are impala and diker. And then, as you know, she also likes steenbok. And then this waterbuck, baby waterbuck that's with her is just a bit bigger than a diker. And so that's what she tends to go for, but she's also going for those sized animals at the moment, not just because it's a little bit easier for her and because she knows how to do it, but also when she has a cub to feed, the nutrients that come out of teeny tiny water bucks like that are very, very high. So she's gonna go for very nutritious, meaty meals. That's actually quite a beautiful shot there with the clouds in the background. Ellen, you're curious if maybe this tree is a challenge for her. Ellen, it's entirely possible. I've seen cubs this little up in trees like this. And of course it's going to be a bit of a challenge. But I don't think that the cub is keeping away because of it. I do think it's just trying to figure out how it's gonna get here. Now, of course, Tristan's back from leave, and he is our leopard whisperer, and I believe he has a rosette-headed cat he would like to show you. So we got impatient and we just backed up 1/2 meter, and the reason why this cub hasn't popped up to Mum is because she's about 8 meters up into her own tree. She doesn't want to be in Mum's tree. She's climbed very, very, very high up in here, and it's giving us quite a good show. So there we go, everybody. 3-month-old leopard, very high up in a tree. She capably climbed up, and now she's trying to figure out how to get down. She's working those muscles and those claws. I would go and stand under there so you could see, but that would result in probably being eaten by Thandi. So we'll just have to give you the view that we have there. Absolutely fantastic. So she's decided she doesn't want Mum and she doesn't want the meat. She wants her own special tree to herself. One of us, you're curious to know if a predator could get the cub if it was in a tree. Yes, if the predator was a lion or a leopard. Look, cheetah could possibly get up there. A hyena definitely can't, and a wild dog can't. But other leopards, of course, and lions, yes, of course, as well. But that little cub would go straight up to the tippy-top branches, which would be harder for a heavier predator to get into. There's your uber cuteness for the day, everybody. I'm really excited that she's decided to climb around for us like this. I think she's trying to figure out now if she's gonna, sorry, I'm jiggling the camera, she's gonna lie up there, or sort of how to get down. When she was getting up, She was not as elegant as her mother getting up a tree. And that's, again, because she's still learning. So now I think because she's up there, she's now contemplating the descent. It's easier sometimes to get up than get down. And Mum has turned her head away in the complete opposite direction and is having a mum nap. She's decided that she's not going to deal with her child for the moment. John, you're curious to know if we know who the cub's father is. John, as far as we know, it's Tingana. I was with VM the other night. Thandi had made it down to Chitwa and then across and then come back up. And VM was making funny jokes about her looking for Tingana to try and collect child support. I laughed really hard. I had to share that with all of you. So, yeah, as far as we know, the father's Tingana. Look, I'm not quite sure if we caught it on camera, the mating. I wasn't working here then, but this is Tingana's territory. Mvula's not really around much, and Hassana and Tamba are way too young. So yeah, Tingana's the best bet. Shame, that little cub is just lying there. All right, well, we keep an eye on this little one, waiting to see if she's going to get down or if she's going to start calling Mum. Let's head on over to Herbie, who has a teeny tiny little predator he would like to show you. Difficulty with Herbie. Our little cub is grooming herself in the tree. I think she's just copycatting Mum at this point, but she's just being a little bit obstinate. But it's good. It's good for her to be obstinate at this age because this is how she learns and this is how she grows and this is how she forms all of the muscles she needs to be a good adult in the next year and sort of 9 months. And it's also, we were chatting, I think it was over Christmas time, we were chatting, Ferg and I were driving around and we were doing some chit-chatting with all of you, and we were filming as we were driving through the Milwaukee and showing up in the trees, and I was saying how it's always important when we're looking for Thandi with the cub like this to just triple check the trees, because most of the time you will find them inside of burrows, but as you know, and now as you can all see, she camouflages up there really well. And because she's a little bit darker, because she's a little bit smaller, it's a nice little place for her to hide herself. I also don't think she's going to move anytime soon, to be honest. I think she's very happy and comfortable where she is. I would like for her to move a little bit so you can see how she gets down. I've also seen with cubs this small when they're trying to get down, because they are not as adept as the adults, it is slightly comical. And also the way that their balance starts to work, they're still figuring out how to find their centers of gravity. And so sometimes they'll slip a little bit, then they hang by a claw, and then they sort of figure their footing out, and then it'll happen again. They hang by the other claw, and they half climb, half stumble, half fall. But every now and then their descent is spot on. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. First Lady, you're noticing how her back legs are dangling there, just like we were showing with Mum earlier, and they're teeny tiny, and it is very cute with her little tail curled and twitching around. Mum's doing the exact same posture in her own tree. Here we go. With a teeny bit of the sunset in the background there. We're not going to get a very good sunset, I don't think, tonight. I think there's too many clouds. But we have half of our shot with a leopard in a tree at sunset. Now, all we needed for the perfect shot is less leaves, more sunset, and for Thandi to maybe stand and do a yoga stretch. And then that would be the photography shot of my year. Margaret, good question. You would like to know, how far can leopards jump without harming themselves? So, Margaret, where Thandi is, she's not as high as that cub. What do you think, Seb? About 10 meters? Maybe 20?
No, what, Thandi?
Yeah.
We are 8 meters.
8 meters.
Yeah.
Sorry, my depth perception of her up into the sky is very bad. So double where Thandi is, so let's say 16 meters. And a friend of mine watched a leopard jump out of a branch from there and onto Impala and kill the Impala and didn't harm herself. So yeah, pretty high. But I couldn't give you a definitive number because every leopard's different, just like every human's different. Yeah, 16 meters, huh? I can jump a certain amount without harming myself, but I probably couldn't jump the way that Usain Bolt could jump without harming himself. It's the exact same thing. There's very few black and whites when it comes to the wildlife. There's a lot of gray that deals with the individuals. So now the cub, I think the cub is probably more like 10 meters. What do you think, Seb? Maybe 12?
Yeah, higher, huh? Yes, like
12.
12.
12, maybe 15? Yeah. So she's up much higher than Mum. Ooh, she's moving for us. Checking a little bit. There's been some elephants that have been crying in the background. I wonder if she can see them. Or she's decided that she's now going to venture down. Now, I've seen little cubs like this go up even higher and then get stuck there. There's no fire department for that. She's checking that other branch. If she jumps, I am going to be over the moon. That's one of the things I love about when leopards are in trees, their ability to jump from branch to branch. And also chase things like monkeys and tree squirrels through the branches. It's absolutely incredible. All right, little one, what are you going to do? She's just investigating her surroundings, smelling, looking around. Trying to maneuver herself. Christy, you're saying you're happy that the little one has managed to become curious enough to climb up into the tall trees to help steer clear of predators. Christy, it is true. It is helpful, but she's not out the clear yet. She still is very tiny and she needs to get a bit bigger. But also any predator throughout their life is never truly in the clear. But it is good that she's managed to find another place to put herself for just in case. What are you going to do, little one? Here she goes. I think she's debating if she wants to get down or not. And I think while she's debating if she wants to get down or not, she's trying to see, well, maybe if I go up, it might be easier. Now, of course, we know the up is easier. Now that mixed in with she's curious about everything. And the smells are different up there. She'll smell tree squirrels. There'll be lizard smells. I think she might be choosing down. There we go. One tentative paw. A look around. Maybe she'll do another tentative paw. Nope. She's like, that's too daunting for me. I'm going to go back up. All right. And she's on her 90-degree angle branch. Let's head over to Tristan while our little Thandi cub tries to figure out how to get down out of this tree. She has found her way down, but she's also found a hole in the tree she's sticking her head into. So that's the type of hole that birds would nest in, or tree squirrels will nest in. So again, lots of smells. And her head's so tiny that she's able to stick it in. And see what we're talking about the wobbly bits. So she can get down, but it's not as good as getting up, as we said before. And so she's managed to get down to a nice little perch, but now she's not happy with her perch. So now she's going to go back up. This process is going to take a while. And if she gets really frustrated, she'll start calling Mom. But she's definitely having a moment. She's up very high. Wendy, you'd like to know, how do leopards stand up in that position without falling? Wendy, they're very aware of their center of gravity. Also, their muscles are made for precarious positions, and their claws work very well. They also have locking wrists, or ankles, as it were, since they have legs, that allow them to steady themselves. So part of what this cub is doing is making all of those muscles and tendons and center of gravity and depth perception, sorry, that stumbled out, work together to be able to get up and down the tree properly. And she's still practicing it. So if she weren't investigating this tree up as high as she was doing and trying all of this out, she wouldn't be able to get those skills to work. And that's also one of the reasons why she's sort of doubting herself, is that she's not 100% with those abilities yet. You can see even when she's going over these branches that are getting thinner and thinner, yes, she is smelling and investigating, but she's also sort of figuring out how her body can move on them. And it's very important. It's just like when a human toddler starts to learn to walk and then to run and then to play sport as you get older, etc., etc. It's the exact same process. There she's turning around again. All right, now Herbie's made it over to the tree where the lightning struck last night. So I think let's head on over to him, and we'll keep an eye on this little cub. And if she starts going down fully, we'll let you know. Tristan, I have so loved my afternoon with Thandi and cub. I've not gotten a chance in a long time to spend this long with the cub and have it be out and about, so it's been really magical. We've just maneuvered around so that you can see the cub a little bit better, because she just keeps climbing higher and higher into the tree. She's investigating us a little bit, and you can actually see, I mean, she's really up there. Teeny tiny with her little tail hanging down. And having a look-see at us. Wondering who we are and what we're up to. Nathan, you'd like to know if Thandi will have another cub while she still has this little cub. Nathan, Thandi will only start going into estrus, into mating, again, when this cub is older, closer to 2 years. Then her body will say, okay, it's time for a new cub. Although I believe Tristan was chatting the other day about this possibly maybe because of the age of Thandi being the last cub, but you never know. Could be, you might get another litter or two out of her. We'll have to wait and see. It would be very difficult for her to take care of this little cub and be pregnant and then take care of another little cub. It's predators would have a very hard time functioning like that. So lion, leopard, and cheetah, they have their litter. They wait for their litter to become older teenagers / adults, and then they'll have another litter. So cute. There's your screenshots for the day, everybody. Now Thandi is standing up on her tree. Over it just, and you can actually see that sunset a little bit. There we go. She's having a look to see. I don't think she can see where the cub is from here. I think that she saw which tree the cub was in. That's beautiful, everybody. Look at those colors in the background. Still not quite the shot we want, but I'll take it for tonight. And you can see her fat belly. She's eaten a lot. A steenbok and most of a baby waterbuck. Thus leads to fat pants. Not fitting. There was a diker that ran past earlier that Thandi was also watching. And you could see her. She's like, oh, food. Oh, I can't move. Too full. And there we go. Precariously moving on her perch, as leopards do, very deftly. Chelsea, you're curious to know if this is Thandi's first litter. Chelsea, no, it's not. Thandi is 11, almost 12 years old. I think we decided earlier from Tristan's estimates. So this is her 5th or 6th litter, as far as I understand it. She's got Tumba and Kachava and 2 others. One that moved into the Kruger, and one that was killed by Tingana as an adult. And then this one, so this would have been the 5th litter, 4th or 5th litter. So yeah, 5 or 6 litters possibly. I don't think all of her litters have made it. But again, Tristan would be your man on the ground to triple check with that. And then we're going to come back to the little cubbo. Not as nice of a background, a little bit blown out. But again, blending in, camouflaging very well. actually looks like part of the tree branch, and that's the point. She looks like she's going to have a nice nap. Yeah, I agree, everybody. It is very beautiful. This has been a special afternoon for all of you, but for myself and Seb as well. I never get tired of leopard cubs or lion cubs or cheetah cubs or hyena cubs or wild dog pups or baby elephants. Maybe it's a girl thing, I don't know, or maybe it's just that they're so super cute. I'm still so amazed at how high. The back of a big, huge male elephant couldn't even reach up as high as this little cub is. She's really high up. Ellen, you're correcting me in saying it wasn't Thandi's cub that was killed. Tingana didn't kill it. It was the Styx Pride. I'm just trying to remember. I had another viewer that sent me through a couple of things about those leopards. I'm believing you, but then there was a female that was killed by Tingana, and for some reason I felt like it was one of Thandi's youngsters. But obviously I have misremembered that. Sorry about that. I think let's head back to the sunset with Thandi because it's very beautiful. I'm loving those oranges and pinks and peaches and a little bit of yellows in the back there. All right, everybody, we don't have a lot of time left, so we're going to have these wonderful views whilst we wrap everything up. And I want everyone to not forget, of course, about our live TV shows that are happening from the 4th of February. They're going to be live in the United States, and it's going to start at 10 p.m. Eastern Time after that big game. And then it's going to go on the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th. The 8th will be our last night, so 5 nights of Safari Live in the United States at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And during that time, we'll be playing Safari Bingo, so go to natgeo.com/Safari Live for the rules on Safari Bingo. 2 of you could win a trip to Africa. How exciting. So thank you so much from all of us, Thandi and Cub, everyone in the Mara. Have a really great evening. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 5:30 our time.